Thank you so much for meeting with me again today. It's been a week since we last met. Today we're just kind of going to go over how everything has been going with Jaquavia over the past week. Last time we met, maybe gave the recommendation of meeting with her if that was possible in the morning to discuss her schedule change, maybe giving her some coping strategies to do so. And I also recommended giving maybe some work before a challenging task that you knew she would succeed in, to maybe give her that self efficacy within the classroom, and also giving her positive reinforcement when she does do good work. So how do you think that went the meeting, and how are things going over the past week?
The meeting went, I thought, okay. Jaquavia was receptive to me talking to her one on one. After I explained why the schedule had changed, she knew why. She was okay with it. So I'm not sure the schedule change is what's causing her behaviors. But I did write some data down after I did speak to her about that. And before that, you and I had met, and Jaquavia had met, she had used her break cards like an average of one time a day, sometimes more. And then after I spoke with you, and then had the conversation with Jaquavia about why her schedule changed, and also instituting some things as far as if she's, I could see she was frustrated, I would say, do you want to step out? That kind of thing. And then giving her some tasks that were a little less maybe challenging, even though I know she can do the challenging work. I did, last week, try a few of those strategies. And I can't wait to see if they actually keep working. But since then, since the time I met with Jaquavia and you, she has only had to use her break cards 3 times this week, so out of 5 days. That's not too bad, considering before. And then before the meeting that we had, she had, I think I wrote down here, she was like, verbal outbursts, usually 2 times a day, depending on, again, the situation. And then this week alone, I think she only said 1 so far this week. But she has stopped doing some of her schoolwork, though. Again, I'm not sure if this is continuing from the behavior where she's just not doing her work. So again, I don't know if it's a confidence thing like we mentioned, which I think it might be, or it's an attention thing.
Okay, and then when she's not doing her schoolwork, does she just sit there quietly?
Sometimes. She does like the attention, so I think some of it is to get my attention to say, come on, you gotta do some work today. Today's Friday, so Wednesday, we have, unfortunately, it's a small room. She was able to grab onto the tiles. They're like tiles they use in the ELA proficiency class. And she was putting on a desk and she was aligning them, which I know that's a stress reliever. Mm-hmm. So I kind of let her go on that. And it worked out okay because I was doing a discussion with the class. So I was able to integrate Jaquavia and have her answer a question. So that was okay. So sometimes I think that those strategies would work if it was just a discussion class. Okay. But when I've had her work on the computer alone, sometimes she's like, I'm not doing this, and just shut the computer up.
So it kind of really sounds like right now, like she's not really getting a lot of work done, and
right.
The break card may not necessarily be working since she is still having some behaviors, and
she's not using it in my class. I would ask her, do you need to take a break? And she says no.
Okay. So, I was thinking about when we met last time about all this, and maybe if the break card isn't working, maybe some other things that we could do for her that may help. So I came up with 2 things that I think may help for her. The first thing, I feel like Jaquavia, she definitely has a good sense of like who she is, and what she needs to do in the classroom, and she has some insight. So I think this one will be good. This is a student self-evaluation form, and basically you'll just have her write her name, day, and grade. And these are just there's really no repercussions for these, but just having her answer honestly. And they're things like, does she raise her hand in class? Does she act up in line? Does she write on the chairs or chew gum in class? And just having her with these behaviors, some are good and bad, like reflect on how she personally feels that she does with them. Does she always talk in class? Does she think she always talks in class, or does she think she never talks in class? And like just looking at her reflection on that, there's really nothing other than just talking with her about it. If she says she always talks in class, maybe from there you can say, okay, like, do you think that that's an appropriate behavior to have in school? And go on from there. I think that maybe if you give her something that's more solid and she can like work on, that may be helpful in trying to figure out what's really going on with her, and have her reflect and evaluate herself. And on top of that, not really sure how you feel about this, but I feel like since Jaquavia does engage in a lot of behaviors and maybe doesn't necessarily, I feel like she might be reinforced by them a little bit. Like you said, maybe attention and whatnot. The next thing I'm suggesting, it's called a behavior reflection sheet, since she is disrupting some classes. And basically it's going to have Jaquavia maybe reflect on what's happening. So say she does have any outbursts or refuses to do work but is disrupting in class, and it's creating that chaos. She writes down her name and the date, and then she's to rewrite this entire paragraph here. And the paragraph says, like, my behavior in class was disrupted towards my educational process. Talks about how it's not fair for other students and for her success. And that if she does have another behavior, she needs to rewrite this paragraph then. So giving a little bit of a consequence towards her behavior, and maybe that'll help her maybe participate a little bit more and be less disruptive, because she knows that this would come if she chooses to act up again. They both make sense to you?
Yeah, I mean, definitely worth trying.
Yeah. And another thing that you could think about, and maybe talk and collaborate with the other teachers, maybe thinking of a behavior contract, in the sense where, like, Jaquavia can maybe earn something, but she also has consequences. So if she does follow certain rules throughout the day, like she completes 3 tasks and she doesn't yell at anyone, maybe throughout the week she can earn something, like a token economy or something of that sort, that may be helpful in replacement of that break card. I'm not sure what your school policies are on that, but it does.
Money that goes into their account.
Okay, so maybe that could be something that you talk to about, with the administrators and the other teachers, and get everyone on board for that. But hopefully, with the addition of those 2 things, and maybe reworking a little bit the break card, so she has maybe something she can earn as opposed to something she escapes from. Maybe that may help restructure her behavior a little bit. Does all that sound good to you?
It sounds good. Yeah. What do I have to do a meeting with her? How does this process work?
So really, I mean, if you do have it sounds like you get some one-on-one time with her.
I do.
So maybe in those times, you take, since she's not really doing her work anyways, take 5 minutes to fill out that self-evaluation form and just discuss it with her. And then let her know when she's filling out that self-evaluation form that if she does act up, or if she's disruptive in class, she's going to have to fill out this behavior reflection form. And you don't have to have her read it, just show her it and be like, if you have a behavior, then this is what's coming. And it's not a punishment, it's more of just having her start to reflect on what her behaviors are and understanding maybe the consequences that may occur if she does act up and is disruptive.
Okay. Wonderful.
All right, does that sound good?
Yes, it does.
All right, if you have any questions, feel free to email me or call me at any time. I'm here to help you out, and we'll meet again in 2 weeks next Friday to see how things are going and see if that worked. And if not, we'll come up with something else.
Okay, thank you.
Have a great day.